There we go.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. All right. I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee meeting of Tuesday, July 18th. It is 1:02 p.m. and we're live on a digital platform. Our agenda today contains 4 items, and I think we're going to kick it off with item number 1, which is a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement between the city and Government Finance Solutions. Tracy, I'm assuming you're on deck for this one. So, so go ahead and tell us why we need you. Or maybe you don't need to. Anyway.
Recall Council has asked that I come back before them with for the continuation of my contract to assist in the finance department. At this point, we have hired an accounting manager, and that person started April 1st-ish and has been with us for about 3 months now. We had slated July 1st to hire a finance director. We have been advertising. We have been looking at resumes. We actually, the market is challenging right now. And so we are trying to find someone that will, has the appropriate qualifications to lead the city in terms of, so that is a continuing process at this point. So in terms of budget in the finance department, I had budgeted myself to continue for 1 day through the end of the year, in addition to the finance director for that period. So we're just asking for a continuation in terms of meeting the budget for that 1 day, but also to put out there that in order to implement the new accounting system that council approved in the last few months, you're going to need some assistance with that. And because of the change in software, the DCED stamp grant has some funds available to pay the cost of me helping you implement that software. So there are some funds available there for that as well.
And so what's the timeline on that, Tracy? Is that an extra day a week, or is that a concerted point of effort at like 2 solid weeks at some point? How are you envisioning that happening?
I have not had, I've been working on preparing audits. I haven't had a chance to get back to Springbrook and talk to them about what that application looks like at this point. But I was figuring another day a week in terms of total time, another day a week through the end of the year to get it implemented.
Mm-hmm. So, well, anyway, excuse me, I'm butting the line here. Randy, Eric, do you have the agreement, Tracy, I'm assuming is, it would appear to me to be identical to the other ones that we've executed, with the exception of a difference in time commitment. Randy, Eric, do you have, what questions do you have?
Eric, go ahead if you have.
I have a couple questions just about the hiring process for the finance director, if I can start with that. How many applications have you gotten? Has there been anybody close? Is there people from the area? Is there folks that don't live within the Williamsport area that, you know, obviously we made a change to our ordinance looking for a codes director. So I'm hoping that's not an issue. If you can update us on that process a little bit.
In terms of the amount of resumes, I'm going to say 10 or less. I would say of those 10, I would say most of them are local individuals, but there is a lack of meeting the qualifications of the job description on all of those resumes. There is one that we have in right now that we are quickly attempting to schedule an interview with that appears to meet the qualifications. So we're moving forward on that one. Did that answer all your questions?
Yeah, that it does. With that particular piece, thank you for that. What is the timeline for the accounting software to get implemented? Then when are we going to see that software package arrive, so to speak?
The discussions that I had with Springbrook prior to agreeing to that software were that they could implement within 6 months. Somebody needs to spend some time working on that. And again, I've been focusing on getting your audits caught up, so I have not addressed that yet.
All right. And then the last thing that I want to ask you specifically, Tracy, and this really doesn't have much to do with the contract, but you're a bit of a hard person to get a hold of sometimes in front of us. So I wanted to just make sure that I would like to see us as a finance committee sit down and go over a little bit more of what you've been doing in depth, figuring out where you're at. I would hope that, we're, I think, a year now that we've been working with you. I would hope that we're out of the triage stage. I'd like to see what it is that you're trying to accomplish then for the rest of the year, for the next 6 months, and then what that's going to look like and where we're going to be then if Springbrook is going to take us about 6 months to get to implementing, how long then after implementation. So what I'm really trying to figure out then is what is the potential end date. Again, not to take that in any particular negative way, but just making sure that we as a city are doing our due diligence to not be in this kind of distress.
Is there a question?
The question is, what is going to be, I understand that was a bit of a word vomit, but what I would like to say is, what I would like to ask is, when would be an appropriate time for you to present us with that information?
Oh, I can present at any time. I just met with people from, so I'm happy to meet with anybody anytime.
You just met with whom? I'm sorry, you cut out.
She met with Randy and I about a month and a half ago, I think, was what she was saying.
That's right. That's right. You had that
and
meeting.
And we do need to set up, that was, I believe, Tracy, the end of May. So we should set up another meeting period. You're right, Eric. Maybe we can fire around a couple of text messages to set up a time that works for everybody. Would that be?
Mhm.
Would
That'd
that
be
work
fine.
out? Okay.
That'd be fine. And I apologize. I forgot about that meeting in May because I was not present at it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. I think you had some sort of last minute emergency or something. Anyway, but no, it is. I do think that it's valuable to keep up with exactly where the finance department's at. And I think that Tracy has been doing her level best, but we had we had an understaffed finance department for several years before she got here, and so we presented her with quite a mess. And we have not, unfortunately, augmented the staffing yet in the way that I think would be beneficial to us. Tracy, I'm assuming that we're going to need to extend the timeline past the end of the year for you if we don't succeed at making a hire on the head of the finance department position sometime soon. Would that be accurate?
I think that would be accurate because I feel good about 2023 and where we're at on 2023 reporting. The problem is going back and fixing the mess from 19 through 22. And that's what I've been trying to focus on to get you caught up in terms of your audits. To keep you on track going forward, you're going to need somebody to lead the budget process and to continue audit preparation and report. We've been generating reports for you now for 2023, being able to continue that going forward.
The report generation process, I'm assuming, will get significantly easier once the new software is implemented, correct?
That's correct. And you'll have immediate access to information at that point too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but you did say that all of us would have some level of access to that financial software, correct? To verify.
Correct.
Which is great.
You will have access.
Great. Yeah, but yeah, Eric, I would agree that this is kind of a key time for us to be understanding what's going on in the finance department. But even though I don't know, I feel like what I keep saying to Tracy is there anything that we can do? and short of producing somebody who meets all of the qualifications for the finance for the head of the finance job, I'm not sure there's a whole lot that we can be doing. But certainly being aware and trying to make certain that some of the things that slipped through the cracks over the last several years don't that we don't get back there would be a positive thing. So Tracy, we'll try to set up a meeting here sometime in the next couple of weeks. You said now then with this contract, you're dropping back to 1 day a week with the city. Have you already dropped back? You did, right, at the beginning of July?
I've been coming 2 days
2
to try
days.
to get ready.
Okay. So anyway, so you are in the city 2 days a week currently?
That is correct.
Okay, got it. So then that gives us a bit of a window. Do those 2 days vary, or are they the same 2 days every week?
No, they're flexible based on the city's needs. Like this week, I'm going to be there Wednesday and Thursday, so I'll be at the meeting Thursday evening.
Awesome, great, okay, excellent. Well, certainly, Randy, did you have questions that you had about the contract or other financial?
Not the contract, although I appreciate all that information as well. Tracy, would it be correct to characterize the process we're in right now as, there's still some of the reconciliation to do with the past budgets on the audits, the software, these things are going to progress, but it seems to me, we feel like we're pushing along, which we all are, but at a certain point, hopefully maybe early next year, things will be opening up a lot faster, and this will really be more in the open and able to work through a lot of these things. I think it's going to be, it almost feels like we're not intentionally, but the circumstances have us bottlenecked, and at some point that's going to open up, and then we should be normal for us. Normal for us. The other thing I wanted to ask about is, have we been contacted at all by the feds on their investigation that they said they were opening up into RVTA now?
I have personally not been a part of any conversation with federal auditors since they were in months ago.
Yeah.
Like early in the year, asked for a bunch of information,
Mm-hmm.
most of which the city did not have access to. Most of it was coming from RVT. Okay. I don't believe I've heard anything in a couple months from them.
Okay. Just wanted to keep tabs on that process as much as we can. I realize it's mostly on the authority side now. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
To address your comments, Randy, I do like 2023, I feel is running very well.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, get that bottleneck of the past audits out of the way. I'm hoping that will free up things to move forward well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And Tracy, if I can follow up on that with a finance department question, in your opinion, once we do get the bottleneck of prior year audits out of the way, if we have basically the three full-time people that we have in the finance department, right? Well, that we will have when we make the final hire in the finance department, will that be a sufficiently staffed finance department to handle the city's needs, in your opinion?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay.
3 full-time and then time data entry AP clerk is what we have. So
yeah.
Finance accounting manager, accounting clerk, and then a part-time AP.
Got it. So we did make the part-time hire. I don't think I'd ever heard one way or the other.
We are going through a staffing agency because we were unable to find multiple.
Got it. Okay, but so we do have somebody in there part-time. They're just simply, yeah, it
Correct.
varies. Okay. Got it. Okay. I think that's about it for the questions I have at this point. Obviously, we might appreciate a bit of a heads up if and when the administration moves forward with any interviews on the head of the finance department position. If nothing else, so we can send some good vibes. I'm assuming, are you part of that hiring process, Tracy?
I am.
It sounds as though you're part of the evaluation process for the resumes. Okay. Yeah, that seems like it would be a solid move. And then I'm just trying to think. And you said we've kind of passed off the 2019 audit, right? And you're working with the auditors now or waiting for them to come in?
Correct.
For
The
further-
audit in to begin audit last week, I believe, and they've got all the information for the 2019 audit, and I've prepped 20 through 22, most of, not all of them, but most of the funds. So I'm trying to keep on top of that as much as possible and keep moving forwards, roll right into audits.
Got it. Great. So at least once the process gets going, hopefully, as long as there aren't any major hiccups and as long as we accept that we're not likely to get a clean opinion, obviously, we're right.
Right.
Yeah. Then we can at least get them out of the way.
They have already told me they do not expect a clean opinion from 19 through 22.
Okay. Through 22.
Yes.
Okay. What impact is that likely to have on, I know that part of the reason, I mean, one of several reasons why we were trying to get these audits wrapped up, obviously it's simply part of doing business as a city to have audits done every year. But one of the reasons in particular that we were eager to get them done was that they were holding up receipt of certain state grant funds that we usually would get on an annual basis, and holding up the possibility of us applying for other things like interim financing for redevelopment, capital assistance funding, et cetera. To what extent will lack of a clean opinion on any or all of those audits impact our ability to work with banks to receive interim funding and things? You don't know?
Yeah.
I know. I'm asking. No reason not to have that out there. So
Granting is going to be different for their response to opinions. The state is well aware of where we are, and we've had multiple conversations with them. So they have continued our normal grant funding, even though we would have flagged in the past. So they have continued. What effect that will have on the market and your ability to borrow, not sure. But what we're trying to do is get all that done so that in 23 we have an opportunity to have a clean opinion. Right. But that all hinges, I will tell you, that all hinges on the feds making some determinations of what amount are going to be due back to them or due between RVTA and yourselves, because nobody's comfortable with numbers right now, and no one's going to put an opinion on something with the huge outstanding issues. So while everything else might be clean, nice for 23, if that still is open, we may still have a problem with getting a clean opinion.
Got it. But that is obviously well beyond our control, correct?
Correct.
Right. So at least I guess my concern is we are at this point doing everything that we can to get ourselves on the financial up and up and leave ourselves in financial good standing for everything from applying for grant funding to applying for, gap loan funding from a bank, et cetera, et cetera. And I think you're right. If we could pull out of a sort of a pandemic whole of 19, 20, 21, 22, and pull a clean opinion in 23, I think that would make a big difference. But we have thus far done everything that we can, and we believe that our VT is also doing everything that they can to speed that process along, right?
Yes, that
Okay.
RVT leaders have continued to come in. They are through 2021. They're 30, 2021. 2022 audit is still underway, but I can't speak to what that opinion will look like, but it surprised me if any different. And I know that, I mean, there were even conversations with the Attorney General last week. VT. So I think they're continuing to move those conversations along, but I'm not party to them.
Yeah, got it. All right. Well, thank you, Tracy. Thanks for the update. None of which centered around the contract that you brought to us. But, does anybody, before we close this out, does anyone have any questions actually pertaining to the contract and Tracy's continued service with the city? Eric, pardon, Randy? You don't? Okay. Eric, am I to assume that you would, you'll want to attach the same, like date / financial expenditure limit to this contract when we look at it in the full body of council on Thursday?
Yes.
Okay. And are you thinking another 3-month point, or are you thinking through the end of the year?
I'd prefer to keep the status quo for 3 months.
Okay. Well, because the thing is, financially speaking, if Tracy's only doing 2 days, not 3 with the city, then the number that you had previously used would probably get us through the end of the year. So
Yeah, the number should be fine, but
okay. But you're more interested in doing a like a 3-month and revisit the contract, right? Okay.
correct.
I guess I'm putting it out there as something to consider between now and Thursday, whether you want the same timeline or the same financial point. Okay, then I think that's everything we have on this item, Tracy. Between you and Skip, I believe, or Mr. Meny, you're handling item number 2 as well, a resolution to adopt and allocate funds for an outdoor fitness court as part of a 2024 national fitness campaign. What can you tell us about that one, guys?
I'll try to lead us off on that. As you're aware, a month or 2 ago, the engineer provided information on the National Fitness Campaign's workout pad to be developed here in the city of Williamsport. He provided a video, he provided some information on it. The plan is to locate it in Memorial Park. The grant from the NFC is for $30,000. We have allocated through the CDBG 2023 action plan about $150,000 of funding, which should give us sufficient funds to complete this project. The best guesstimate back at that time was somewhere around 150,000. So we're looking at potentially having 180,000 to cover all expenses involved to get us our environmental clearances, et cetera, et cetera. And we're using CEDACOG to handle the CDBG component of this process. I know the mayor has been out soliciting potential donors to help offset some of the funding costs for this project. And if that happens, then those CDBG dollars that are being used for the match can be reallocated to some other program or to another project as is deemed fitting. Once we've completed this project, the intention is to have it completed in the year 2024. With that, I'll try to answer questions.
Okay. Eric, any questions from you?
I don't have any except for the use of funds. If the mayor is going to solicit donations for that, do you have any particular projects in mind that you would like to see those CDBG funds used for, or is there something that we are putting off that would be a better use of these funds?
We don't have a plan or an allocation for any of these funds presently. That we will be able to shift around once we actually know we won't be using any number of the dollars for this project. We can reallocate into another need that the city might have at that time. It'll take a substantial amendment to do that again, like we've done in the past.
When we're looking at raising funds, Skip, are we talking about like in the $10,000 range, or are we aiming for a substantially larger chunk of funding than that?
Honestly, Ms. Maley, I don't have that answer. I know the mayor has talked to a couple of potential donors who might be interested in attaching their name to this project, but what dollar amount, I can't say that right now.
And tell me again. Got it. Thank you. And Randy?
Yeah, my questions or not concerns, really interests, I guess, is in I looked at how other communities are doing it, and a lot of them are partnering with different entities and industries or whatever they can do in their locality. I'd like to see us put a full court press on in that area. Do we is there, well, you just said you're not in that loop, so perhaps we should talk to the mayor and find out what that plan might be and how we can institute it.
Yeah, I think, right, we need to be aiming relatively high here. Is that your point, Randy?
Yeah. That's my point, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But so perhaps yeah, I think that's something that we can explore maybe a little further on Thursday. Just ask it. It looks Skip, if I'm understanding, we will need to authorize this and accept these base funds. In fact, we realistically speaking, perhaps should have done it by our last meeting, but we would need to do it this meeting. Is that correct?
I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
There was a deadline in the document of 7/7/23 for the council board resolution of adoption. So I guess, but we're not.
I know NFC has been aggressive in trying to get this completed so that they can start planning to do the project and get it into construction. But the timeline, I was not aware that it did say 7/7. That would be a mayor question. I just can't give you that answer. The funds from the CDBG program are available. I think it's just a matter of executing the document.
Right. Got it. Then next question for you, Skip. In the document, I note that we are supposed to accept delivery of the fitness court in January and store it. What are our intentions for that?
Well, I would assume it'll be similar to what was done with the splash pad. The materials were supplied, and Scott Livermore provided space to store them out at his facility. And when the construction season opened up, they moved the materials to the construction site and did the building of the project.
Okay, so you believe that we do have space, and we have a space designated for storage of this.
Because we did it for the splash pad.
Okay. All right. Well, that's positive. Okay. All right. then Randy, Eric, do you have other questions that we can answer at this point?
I don't have any.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I'll probably have a couple more questions before the full body of council, but
Yeah,
just so that I can be clear, we're looking at the city is committing effectively. It sounds like, Skip, what I'm hearing from you is 180,000 or 150,000, sorry, matching a $30,000 commitment. Pardon?
CDBG program has 150, to give you
Yeah.
the exact number, it's 156,300.
Got it.
CDBG funds are available
got it.
for this project.
And the project itself is projected to only cost about 160.
150.
Okay.
The
Because they're
additional funds
asking,
would be,
we have to guarantee a $130,000 match for their $30,000 grant award, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And then I'm assuming the $30,000 grant award is kind of a soft grant award, just in the sense that we're actually purchasing this equipment from the National Fitness Campaign, correct? So
correct.
they're basically just reducing the purchase price by
That's
30,000.
what I would assume they're going to do, but I don't think they're going to cut a check to the city for $30,000. I just assume they're going to reduce it from their billing.
So they're effectively giving us a discount. It would be perhaps a better way to look at it. Okay. All right. I think that sort of helps me understand the basics there. Okay. All right. Then if I don't hear any other questions from you guys, we can close discussion on this item. Hear nothing.
the present time, yes.
Yeah, at the present time, exactly. All
Thank you.
right. Then the next item on the agenda, thanks, Skip, thanks, Tracy.
Thank
Next
you.
item on the agenda is a resolution to purchase Windstream Solutions Service Agreement. Chris Black, I think you
Good
spend as much
afternoon.
time in front of the camera as you do running it sometimes.
Someone's got to do it. Anyhow, what I'm doing is I'm looking to replace a current phone system. One of the main reasons being is if we're moving out of current city hall, we need to do something with the system, and I'd rather put all new in than try to bring in the system that's 8 years old at this point. The new system would cost us a total of $2,154.50 a month. There is no upfront charge at all, and that would cut our phone bill by about $1,200 or $1,200 a month.
Wow.
Mhm. Okay. So adding about a $900 a month cost to our budget. Is that accurate, Chris?
No, lowering $1,200 a month.
But we're paying out
We're paying-
2,000.
In May's bill was $33.42.63.
Got it. Okay.
Our
So
monthly
then the bill's gonna be
Flat rate
42.
bill going forward will be $21.54.50.
Got it. Okay. I was misunderstanding what you were getting out there.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
There is no capital expenditure on it. There's no
Mhm.
upfront cost. This will come out of the general funds for both the city and the fire departments. Plus then I also have $52,000 set aside in capital for this project for a new phone system that I won't need. I could use a new
Right.
car.
Yeah.
Code's
So this
already got theirs. You got to steal theirs.
I want something a little bit better than that. I'm older. I need a little bit more room.
This at least puts us on
basically
the.
Yeah.
So Eric, do you have any questions on this item?
No, that seems pretty straightforward. We're switching from Comcast, I assume.
No. No,
Okay.
we were currently using Windstream for both our telephone and our phone system.
Okay.
We're just switching from what we're currently using to a different service within their company. We currently have an All Works, which is the brand, phone system in-house. It's no
Okay.
longer supported. I don't want to move one that's no longer supported. This
Right.
is all based in the cloud system where we can take the phone, plug it in pretty much anywhere, and that
Okay.
extension's live.
So our current system is not voice over IP. Then this is
It is, but
Okay.
it's server-based, not cloud-based.
got it. Understood.
A lot more hardware involved in the old version as opposed to the new one.
Right. All right. That makes more sense. Understanding it that way. No, that's excellent.
Yeah, definitely a positive step in terms of your tabulation of how much we're paying for IT programming right now, huh?
I
Mr.
try to
Biter.
save you guys money everywhere I can. I really do.
No, well, I mean, we need that, Chris. And not just in your department.
I think everybody tries to make a conscious effort. I really do.
No, I think they do. That's not my way of saying that people are spendthrift in the city. I'm just saying that I think, given just some of the realities of the way the city's tax base is not really growing at a rate that would keep pace with our with salaries going up and everything. We need to find every cost cutting measure we can to keep the burden on the taxpayer as low as we can. So that's just part of being a third class city in the state of Pennsylvania. It's not your fault and it's not really ours either, I don't think. But anyway, but that's good news. If there aren't any other questions on this item, and I think this sounds like just an exciting way for us to save a couple of bucks, then
well, a couple other things with this is the reason why I'm pushing this so much now is the lead time is probably about 3 to 4 months. So depending on when we need to vacate City Hall, we need to have stuff in place before then. Also, we have a number of what they call POTS line, Plano telephone service lines. They are each going up $80 a piece this month, and then probably another $350 a piece very shortly thereafter. Verizon and whomever does not want to support those lines anymore. There's some municipalities whose phone bill has gone up $4,500, and there's nothing they can do about it.
What are those lines? What is so different about them?
They're the old style fax lines and alarm lines for fire systems and so forth. With this, when we get this, when and if this is approved on Friday, I can notify Windstream and they can put a hold or a moratorium on those lines where the increase will not go up because they know there's a plan in place to replace them.
Great. All right. Saving us even more money then, I guess.
Well, avoid spending more money.
Right.
Because those increases have not gone in place yet.
Well, great. That's good to hear. I was unaware of that, of the landline. I guess maybe in many ways it's unsurprising, but it's still a little shocking to hear that level of
technology from the 60s and 70s that they just do not want to support any longer.
Yeah. I can understand that. Okay. Anything else on this item, Chris, that we should be aware
Not
of?
that I can recall at the moment.
I have one question.
Sure.
It's in the fine print. It talks about the monthly recurring charges do not include certain taxes or charges that Windstream passes on to governmental entities. Is that it addresses some states and other states it doesn't? Or do you know what that might amount to, or have they?
No, I do not, but I will find out by Thursday.
Okay, great. Thanks.
It says here, interstate and internet service monthly charges in all states except Pennsylvania being one of the ones listed.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just, yeah, they're talking about surcharges and fees and excess recharge, whatever, I don't know. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Well, and I guess the other important thing I need to find out is whether these are things that we're currently paying to. Right.
looking at the last month's bill, it is like taxes and surcharges was almost $400.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Got it. So yeah, whether those numbers are staying the same moving
And it's
forward or whether
one,
they,
listed as one item.
it always is, Chris, it always
Yeah.
is.
No such thing as itemized billing anymore.
Right.
right.
Yeah. And the rabbit hole you fall down when you try to untangle what those taxes and surcharges are can last for months. So anyway. Okay, but yeah, if you can get us an answer on that by Thursday, that'd be great.
I will do my best.
Anyway. Good point, Randy. Anything else, guys?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Then yeah, as you know, if we can find out what our actual final monthly bill will be, whether it sounds like maybe it won't be a total $1,200 savings, but it might look more like 8 or 9, something like that, then that would be good to figure
Possibly.
out. Right. Either way, it's still, I can't imagine that it won't be some sort of
Yeah.
savings, but
You're still looking at 10 grand a year, at least savings.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And no outlay for,
Yes,
Yeah.
no major capital purchase at any time.
Right.
right. Exactly. So great. Okay. All right. Then if we move on from item number 3, that brings us to item number 4, which is any related items. Does anyone have anything else to introduce? I should mention, I think I've already mentioned this to members of the finance committee, but I'll just put it out there to anyone who happens to be listening, that we're expecting to review second quarter, so that would be mid-year financials for the city at our next scheduled finance committee meeting at the beginning of August. I think it's the 1st of
Okay.
August. That simply relates to the timing of when we receive our bank statements, and then they go to a couple of other departments in the city for review before they go to the
Right.
finance department. So it takes a little while to trickle down and finally get to our plates, but we'll be looking at those next time.
Yep.
Okay.
Great. Mhm.
All right. If there is nothing else, then I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
See you Thursday.
Take care,
I'll see
everyone.
everyone on Thursday. Thanks. Bye-bye. Hey, Chris, I can't get out of here. Kick me out, will you?